All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Barnon 11970. And as always, I'd like to start my videos by thanking everybody for taking the opportunity to listen to what I have to say. It's currently the 1st of October, believe it or not, 2017, 7:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been a little bit since I've made a video. I just need to take a little break because sometimes this stuff can be very emotionally draining. And like a battery, sometimes you just need to recharge. So I never want to make a video just to make a video. I wanted to have purpose. I wanted to have meaning. So the people that come to my channel and see my videos, no matter how much YouTube tries to block it, I want to make sure it has some kind of significance for them. And they understand or understand that they came here for a reason. And hopefully people are starting to see the conditioning that they try and put you in. Where when we had all of those hurricanes, there were some earthquakes, there were situations you saw all over YouTube, and even on Facebook, and I'm sure on other social media networks, where people were talking about, this is the end times, this is the end of the world. They were talking about with the whole thing with North Korea and everything like that. And I said in my videos, these things are nothing but fear-based to keep you in a lower vibrational state. Whether you understand this, whether you believe in it or not, you could be affected by things that you can't see, taste, hear, or even know exist. And in this world, we're taught seeing is believing. So in other words, if you can't see it, you are supposed to think that it doesn't exist. Well, the first thing I could say is look around you, point out an oxygen cell, and tell me that you could see it. Doesn't mean because it's not there in your eyesight, you can't hear it, you can't smell it, doesn't mean it's not there and it's not affecting you. You know, put yourself, well, never do this, but put yourself in a situation where there's tremendous amounts of microwaves. You can't see those microwaves around you, but I guarantee you it's going to affect you. So we need to start changing our mindset. But I said a while ago in my last couple of videos, this is not going to be the end of the world. We have people talking about Narabu. We have people talking about Planet X, which is basically the same thing. We have people talking about nuclear war, the end of the world. They do this all the time. And it's to make you think, well, what if? And you notice the same patterns keep happening over and over again. And if you know anything about history, because history is nothing more than his story, it all goes in cycles. It's wash, rinse, repeat. And yes, were there some people who lost their homes or lost businesses or even might have lost their lives in some of these tragedies that were happening around the world? Yes. I mean, you don't have to have a tragedy like a hurricane or something for people to be injured. You know, you could slip and fall, or a branch could fall off a tree and kill you. There's always going to be some kind of situation regardless. But if you're hearing my voice, then guess what? The earth is still here. They try so hard. I mean, there are people on YouTube that are so desperate for views because they need that ad revenue that they are willing to put their own integrity and throw it out the window so they could put this fear porn, what I like to call fear porn based information out there with the scary headlines, and it will attract people. Now, this is the question I want to ask those who really starting to understand. I'm not worried about people that don't get it or hear for the wrong reasons or think this is a joke. For those that resonate with the things that I speak about, because you never hear me say this is how you have to think. What I do on this channel is I give my feelings on what I resonate with. Whether that resonates with you or not, that is up to you to decide. This is not a cult. This is not you have to give me a membership fee to be able to hear information. You don't have to do anything. I don't tell you how to live. I give suggestions based on my thoughts. And if it resonates with you, great. If not, then I would wonder why people would be here. But what I want to get to the people who think on a different level, to shut off your cable TV, stop reading these fear porn based posts, videos, people that want to do nothing but scare you, because all they're doing is making you create this fear-based reality. And if you can't get by now, there is an unlimited, infinite amount of realities, and the way you feel is going to direct you in whatever direction that you're headed. And by that, I mean, if you have a fear base, you're always going to be surrounded by things that could scare you or potentially scare you. If you're always full of anger, you're always going to have situations that create the ability to make you angry. Sad, happy, whatever. So my thing is, if you have a power in you to be able to influence what direction you go, why would you want to put yourself in a position that's based on fear, anger, and frustration? And so many people do it. We keep getting drawn into it. The reality programs, the drama, the scaring, the fear tactics. I shut it off. I don't put myself in those positions anymore. I don't even watch most YouTube channels that I used to anymore, because if they're full of negativity, if they're full of, oh, you're going to die tomorrow, and oh, look at what's going to be coming around the corner, there's always going to be that what if. And if you base your whole life on what hasn't happened yet, you are failing to remember that you are living in the moment. You are living in the now. So you're taking all of your energy and projecting it into something that hasn't even arrived yet, instead of focusing your energy where you are right at this particular moment. Because it is all about choice. So Deborah makes a very good question, and I want to talk about this, and welcome to all those people that come here. How do we stop our habits? Well, first of all, you have to understand, or like what I like to say, understand, that you have certain habits. Now, you can't change something if you don't pay attention to it. And you don't want to change something that's working for you. So my thing is, if something does not resonate with you, and something that brings you anger and fear or any negative emotion, it is up to you to decide what you want to do with it. Because if you punch yourself in the head, it's kind of silly to continue to do it because you know it causes you pain. But you have the ability to change it at any time. And I just want to say really quick, Heather Doja says, hey Chris, I had to take a break too. I can understand that. It could be definitely draining. And I haven't been watching your videos. Sorry to take so long for my response video. I'm nervous on camera. Well, this is the one thing I want to tell you, Heather. Why be nervous? Because if you think about it, you're only talking to a piece of equipment. You're not standing in front of people. So my thing is, put yourself out there. Be yourself. Have fun with it. Speak your mind. There are going to be people that will hate you for it. There will be people that will make fun of you for it. There will be people that will never understand what you say. But if one person does, then that message went through in a positive way. Now, you could see on my channel, I have almost 40,000 subscribers. I can't even get 1,000 views because they try and hide me so far. And of those, like 500 or 600 views that I do get, a quarter of them are probably here for the wrong reasons. Some maybe have stumbled on it by their own, not realizing how powerful they are to be attracted to something that they think about. And maybe I affect 10 people in a positive way. But to me, that's 10 people that I've never been in a room with, that I don't know anything about, that through the power of the internet and through communication, I was able to help maybe push somebody or assist somebody in a different direction. Everything comes down to a choice. And if your choice is to think that you have no choice, then you're going to create those very same abilities. Now, here's the thing I will suggest. If somebody does or says something that doesn't resonate with you, then you have to ask yourself, why are you listening to that person or persons? Why are you following that situation? Why are you believing in something that may not register with you? Because you have the ability to cut your strings, but you have to first know that those strings are there. That is how you make change. If you surround yourself by watching, like, for example, videos on the Illuminati and videos about Satan worshippers and videos about wars that could be possibly happening and videos about planets coming to destroy us and aliens coming to take us over. Well, is it any surprise you're nervous, you're paranoid, you're scared, and you're full of anger? If somebody is hitting you and you stand there, why would you be so shocked that it is causing you pain? And why is it difficult for you to understand that you have the ability to walk away? Because this world profits off of your negative energy. You're being a slave. And it doesn't have to be like the slaves they teach you on the TV shows and in the schools, where you're not some person in chains with somebody taking a whip and cracking it and making you do things. And that goes for all people throughout history that have been slaves, not one particular race. We've all been at one point or another. But you have to work to make a fiat currency that they will lend or loan to you by giving you digital numbers. It's all a fraud. And we continue to have that hamster wheel roll for them when we could get off at any time. But we don't, because we like some of the little trinkets that they push our way. And the way to keep us in control is by always constantly bombarding you with fear. Well, if you don't like horror movies because they scare you, and you're silly enough to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, 24 hours a day watching them, well, whose fault is that when you can turn off the television? There is not going to be a nuclear war, because those that are in charge profit off of our energy, off of our labor, so they can play around and do whatever they want on the backs of our effort and work and energy. Well, if we are all destroyed, then they have to fend for themselves. And if you know anything about extremely powerful people and extremely wealthy people, they don't use their own resources. They steal from others, or borrow from others, or just use other people's resources. So it would be kind of silly if you were in charge and you could sit around and do whatever you wanted based on the fact that you were relying on other people to do everything for you. It would be rather silly to get rid of them. But they don't want you to think with common sense. They want you to think, well, this could be the time. This could be the moment. This could be the spark. Because let's think of things logically. If there was, for example, like people have been talking about, since I've been listening to this stuff since around 2011, people are talking about Narabu, how it's coming into our solar system, it's going to pull us out of alignment, it's going to pull our North Pole out of position and all this other stuff. Well, let me tell you something. If a planet, as the size that they're trying to say it is, if it got anywhere remotely close to our solar system, it would be noticeable by now. This is not something that would not be noticeable. And they think, what is going to happen? Like, you close your eyes one night and it's going to just sneak up, and you open your eyes the next day and hello, here's another planet ready to destroy us. I mean, people have to think logically. But this stuff sells. It gets people's attention. And some people may think it's just entertainment. But when you all think the same way, you create that version of an infinite reality. Whether you understand that or believe it is irrelevant. And I tell people this all the time. There's a reason there's the word lie in believe. Because if you want to entrap people, you place everything based on a belief or the lack of a belief. Because I've used this example many times. If somebody put poison in your beverage that you were about to drink, and you weren't aware of it, and somebody told you that your best friend or your spouse or your co-worker or somebody you trust or whatever said, they came along and said they put a poison in your drink, and you said, I don't believe it. Will that save you if you drink the beverage? We have to change our mindsets, because you're taught to only think about seeing is believing. And that's why I've used the example of, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? Well, the glass is completely full, because if you fill it halfway with water, it still has air. It still has bacteria. It still has whatever's floating around in the air that you can't see. So that doesn't mean it's not there. But when they give you that IQ test of if you're an optimist or a pessimist, they're controlling you in either direction, just like whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. They're controlling you either way, just in a different frame of mind, because then they have two sides that will ever be not talking with each other. Always fighting. You notice all the division lately? Well, it only happens because we believe it to be true, and we don't do anything to change it. And we're all doing the same thing. Instead of sitting down and communicating with one another, we want to fight with each other. Because no matter what you do, you're going to have something that you're not similar with somebody else. There's always going to be something you can disagree with. But why do you have to fight each other? Why do you have to hurt each other? Why do you have to stop each other from having their own personal lie and their own belief? You change your world if you want to change the world. And if millions of people can be negative and create a negative world, well, why can't millions of people all of a sudden be positive and create a positive world? Why is it always the quote-unquote glass is half empty syndrome? Why do so many people feel they need to give up? Why do so many people feel it is out of their hands? Well, is it a surprise that it is? Because you believe it to be. You create that lie. You create that belief. You forget that you're so strong that you can create the reality where you believe that you have no power, that you can mock it, that you could laugh about it. But the only people you're hurting is you, your family, your loved ones, and the people around you. You have the choice to do whatever you want, which is including absolutely nothing. But if you want to sit there and listen to the Alex Joneses in the world and the fear porn, yes. Does Alex Jones say some good, helpful things? Absolutely. Did he help awaken a lot of people? I guess that depends on what his real motives were. But if you see all the constant fear where you always have to look over your shoulder because supposedly somebody's coming to get you, that's a horrible way to live. And I've been there. Back in 2011, 2012, when I didn't really understand the way I do now, I was paranoid. I was worried about we're all going to die. I was storing up all the food and all these things. I don't regret it because, you know what? Like, for example, with toilet paper, I haven't had to purchase toilet paper since probably 2011. And other things that I could use. So, for me, I did it almost for the fear, but I thought of it in a logical way, that even if nothing bad happened, these are things I'm going to use anyway. So I didn't base it on, oh my God, I got to get this stuff now, otherwise we're all going to die. And there's a lot of people out there, and I promise you, if somebody puts a video like that on YouTube and says we're all going to die, it's going to get 20,000 views in the first day. Well, mine won't get 1/10 of that. And that's okay. And Unimatrix says we're trying to be positive. Well, why not be positive? Why do you have to try? You either can be or not be. It's all your frame of mind. Because there really is no such thing as try. And I'll give you a prime example. Everybody that's listening to this, as long as you're not driving or, doing something that you need to focus on, if you have a pen or a piece of paper around you, I want you to grab it and place it in your hand. So either crumple up a piece of paper and put it in your hand, or take a pen, pencil, or something that, is non-breakable and put it in your hand. And I want you to take whatever that is, lift it up in the air, and when I tell you to, I want you to try and drop it. All right, so you ready? Whatever you have in your hand, like I said, nothing that's breakable. When I count down from 3, 2, and 1, when I get to 1, I want you to try and drop it. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Try and drop whatever was in your hand. Now, first of all, when I say try and drop it, doesn't that sound silly? Doesn't that sound confusing? Don't you think about, well, what do you mean try and drop it? Well, I bet you when I got to 1 and you opened your hand, you didn't try and drop something, you dropped something. Or you refused to open your hand and it's still in your hand. So, in other words, you chose to either let it go or not let it go. There is no try. Get that word out of your mind. You can make an attempt to do something and fail, but it's not trying. Get that word out of your vocabulary. Because let me ask you this, and I hope this never happens to anybody. If your child is drowning in a pool, will you try and save them, or will you do everything in your power to save them? You're not going to sit there and say, well, I see my child is drowning, I'll give it a try. You will never think that. You will instinctively jump into that pool and save that child's life. Now, unfortunately, you may be too late. But you're not going to sit there with the mindset of, well, I see that my child is drowning, so, I'll try. See how silly that sounds? You have to change your mindset. This world has been very good with movies, lyrics of songs, and articles, and even YouTube videos where they're constantly telling you that you're not good enough, you're not famous enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you don't speak eloquently, you don't do everything right, you shouldn't be successful, you can't be successful. Well, it's bad enough that people will do that. It's even worse if you believe it or you do it to yourself. Because any negative situation that approaches you should be taken and seen as an opportunity to view what you can learn from it to improve yourself. Because I promise you this, most caring people, the ones that will go above and beyond, the ones that will help other people, the ones that will help animals, the ones who really care about more than themselves, I promise you, probably 95% of them, if not more, grew up in a very abusive or very bad childhood. And instead of becoming the very things that they had to endure, they chose to take those negative things and turn them into something positive. So I promise you that most people that are here for the right reasons, the ones that care, I promise you, without even knowing you or anything about you, that your childhood was probably not filled with sunshine, rainbows, video games, candy, money, and fame and fortune. I promise you, you probably had a very challenging life. Probably borderline abusive or tragic or depressing. But if it turned you into something caring, then what you did is you learned from something negative and turned it into something positive. So you may not have ever become the person you are now if you did not experience those negative things in your past. And here's the beautiful thing. You are living in the now. So why remember and feel depressed about something that already happened? You cannot change what already has happened. Unless you have a time machine I'm not aware of. So most people have to look back at their childhood and say, woe is me. Well, it's not happening to you anymore, so why keep reliving it? Why put your brain with its limited energy, because even though we're infinite beings, we're not infinite in these bodies that we have right now, and they have limited energy, so why would you focus what limited energy you have on something that has already happened and relive it over and over again? When you could focus on the moment and say, what can I take from all of that negativity and turn it into something where I can contribute to society, my family, my future, my life? It's all about choice. If you want to sit there and be depressed, you have every right to do that. If you want to sit there and say it's difficult, well, is there any surprise that it's difficult? Why do you think certain people succeed? It's because they're not sitting there with their hands over their eyes saying, I can't see everything, or I'm not willing to make the effort. It's sometimes going that extra mile. When people say you can't, prove them wrong. Don't believe in them, because then you will make their predictions come true. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to succeed at everything, but maybe you're supposed to succeed at one particular thing in life, and the only way you'll succeed is by eliminating the fear. And thank you, buddy. That was very nice of you. I appreciate that, buddy. And I thank everybody that comes here, even if they just are here to listen. Because if I can help get one person to think in a better way, then that means I've achieved something. And let me tell you something. I've had a hard life myself. I've had shotguns to my head. I've had my head thrown through a wall. I've had things that I've seen in my life that I would not wish on my worst enemy. But it made me who I am. And it seems that there are some people that actually like what I do and what I say. Now, if I was the woe is me, feeling depressed, never getting out of anything but living in the past, I might never made any of these videos. You have the power to control everything. You are stronger than you will ever give yourself credit for. Why would you beat yourself up when the whole world is already trying to do that for you? Be better than that. And yes, it's going to be difficult. And yes, it's going to be challenging. And yes, you're going to fall down probably several times. And you're going to fail from time to time. But if that failure does anything, it teaches you what way not to go. You ever wonder why this world keeps doing the same thing over and over again? We have the same divide and conquer, just with different people in different times. We have wars and people fighting amongst each other, and yet nothing gets better. And you wonder why the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. They get you all fighting amongst yourselves, and you believe that you can't do anything, so you don't do anything. And then for some reason, you're surprised that nothing gets done. And Deborah asked, do I do these videos every day? I used to. Now that I do them basically when I feel it's the right moment to do it. Because I would never want to make videos just to make them. Because as much as I like what tiny little revenue I make, and they've basically reduced it to the point where it's a joke, I do this because I want to help people. Maybe that's because it helps me. Maybe this is karma that I have to repay from a past life for something that I've done. I don't know. All I know is I enjoy knowing that something I say could actually influence somebody in a positive way. When so many people in this world are out there to make fun of you, to hurt you, to steal from you, to keep you down. That is an easy thing to do. It's easy to stomp on somebody's head and hurt them. It's easy to be in a crowd of people that are laughing and pointing and making fun of you. It's a lot harder to be the one that stands in front of the person that's down and protect them and try and save them. But everybody wants to have the #1 YouTube video. Everybody wants to be seen as Superman. Instead of saying, I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do, and I don't give a damn if anybody saw me do it, or if anybody heard about me doing it. I did it because it was right. And that is why I can have a channel of almost 40,000 people, have only 30 people listening right now, which is a lot, believe it or not, and still know that somewhere in this crowd that's watching this, somebody is going to think differently, even but for a moment. And I've had time and time again people say, well, this came at the right moment. That's not on me. That's on you. That's how powerful you are. You were resonating. You could have been driving in your car, or you could have been just flipping through the YouTube channels. You think it's just a coincidence that something that is what you need to hear is happening at the moment by coincidence? Or maybe you give yourself credit to say, you know what? This world is made of energy and magnetism. And when I'm feeling I'm in the need of something, even if I'm not thinking about that at the moment, I'm going to be attracted or have things attracted to me that answer my questions. What a surprise. Stop saying it's a coincidence, because then you're insulting your own power. They want you to think of things like conspiracy theorists and dumb luck or blind luck or coincidences, because then you'll never stop and think, wait a minute, I had a hand in this. My energy is so strong that I can attract the very things that I need without even asking for them. I just have to feel them. And if you want to think that's crazy, you absolutely have the power. But then all you're doing is denying yourself of your own energy that you'll never get. Because if you view it as a joke, well, it's always going to be something you're going to laugh at instead of growing and learning and becoming stronger and showing your power. Because just imagine if the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy laughed at the end of that movie when they said, oh, you have the power to go home all along. What if she laughed? What if she made fun of it? What if she said to the witch, the good witch of the north or whatever, oh, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're paranoid, you're a conspiracy theorist. You think she ever would have went home? So who did she hurt? She might feel good that she laughed at all the little munchkins. She might feel good that she laughed at the witch. She may really feel good that she got one over on the lion, the tin man, and the scarecrow. But she's still stuck where she didn't want to be, away from all her family, because instead of realizing her inner power, she would have laughed and made fun of people, which would have gave her a moment of pleasure, but a lifetime of pain. So if you want to go around mocking the world, if you want to go around hurting people and doing negative things, the person that you're hurting is yourself. And the funny part is you'll never even realize it. Because like I say all the time to my clients in my massage office, because I'm a licensed massage therapist, I tell people I do very clinical type massage. I work on people that get a lot of migraines, that have a lot of nerve problems like sciatic nerve in their lower back or the sacrum, problems all the way up and down the spinal cord. And I tell them a lot of times the massage not only can help fix what you have, but prevent other things from ever happening. And I've had clients that'll come in regularly and they'll say, well, you know, I've been coming for a while and I feel fine. I don't think I need this anymore. And they stop coming. And then a year later, all of the things that I spent years getting rid of have all come back, and now they have to start over again. So a lot of things in this world you'll never see, you'll never notice, because you change the timeline. So you could sit there and say, oh, well, I did this and nothing happened. Well, just imagine what may have happened if you didn't do it. People don't think about that because why? Like I said earlier, you're taught that seeing is believing, and if you don't see it, then it can't be a possibility. You resonate. You are a receiver. You are a radio with a very powerful antenna. Most people in this world don't even know that antenna exists. So how are you going to understand or understand what signals you're receiving when you're never even told that you have the power to receive those messages? There are so many ways they're going to keep you down. And that's on them. But if you do it to yourself, that's kind of silly. It's bad enough somebody wants to punch you. But if you want to punch yourself, to me that makes no sense. So yes, there's going to be times where things are sad. I've gone through a lot of bad stuff in my life. And I continue to have those things. But I view them as challenges. I view it as, what can I learn from it? How can I go to the depths of hell and still make it out? Maybe with a burn or two. But maybe those burns are a reminder of something that I don't want in my life. Think of them as battle scars. Stop thinking always so negatively. Like they say, crap happens. So why keep living it? So there is no destruction of the planet. With all the talk and all the fear, there is no nuclear war. Could there be? Anything's possible. But how long have they been talking about these things? How many millenniums have been people talking about the end of the world? Because like I've said, even in biblical times, they talk about this great flood. And even there are many other times where they talked about these great floods. Well, you're here listening to this, aren't you? So even if there were great floods that destroyed many people on the planet, they didn't destroy all of them. So even if there was a nuclear war, how do you know you're going to be one of the people that doesn't survive and doesn't thrive? Stop letting people make you think in a negative way. Stop giving yourself no credit. Here I am talking nonstop for 34 minutes. When I made the start of this video, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And you notice I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not rambling trying to think of words to say. I'm not nervous. I'm not afraid. And I know there's plenty of people that are listening to this, whether it's live or later, that are going to mock it. Who will probably never listen to it. But that doesn't stop me from putting it out there. It's putting my positive energy out to those who are willing or able or needing to receive it. So I know it's not going to be for everybody, But I don't do it for that. That is why if you look on the screen, under where it says Barn on 11,970, what does it say? Uniting the people one person at a time. Not 1 million. Would I like that? Of course. And I'll have people saying, I just love to hear myself talk. I just ramble on all the time. It's all about me. I can't control what other people's perception of what I try and do is. I stopped caring about that a long time ago. And I speak about it from almost a third person's perspective. Because I'm not afraid to speak my mind. And I want you to do the same thing. Stop worrying about being judged, because no matter what you do, there are going to be people that are going to judge you, that they're going to hate you. Because let's put it this way. When it comes to God, whatever God you want to believe in, there are many people that hate God. There are many people that curse God. There are many people that don't believe God exists. And that's supposed to be the creator, the one that's supposed to be all about high and mighty and all about love. And there are people that hate that person or persons. And look on the other end. On the other end of the spectrum, there's supposedly Satan. And how many people worship him? So you could be the most evil, corrupt person in the world, and there will be people that will worship you. And you could be the most kind, loving, caring person in the world. I mean, if you believe in the Bible at all, look at Jesus. He sacrificed his life for the love of the human race. And what happens? Those very people murdered him. Now, whether that's a true story or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. And if I was, I sure as hell don't remember. But the point of the story is, there's a person that gave the ultimate sacrifice, that they loved humankind so much that they were willing to sacrifice their life for the very people that murdered him. And as the people wept and looked up at him in sheer horror or surprise or shock, not one of them tried to bring him down. Not one of them tried to stop them. That's like people today. Most people would rather sit there with their phones and film something so they can get the next greatest YouTube video that they can trend all over the internet, instead of putting their damn phone down and saving somebody's life, or stepping in front of a bully, or trying to save an animal from drowning, or somebody that's trying to hurt someone. It's all a choice. But don't be surprised of the consequences of not only what you choose to do, but what you choose not to do. Where does your integrity lie? That's on you. You can't say you want a great world if you're not willing to do anything to try and make it that way. Like, I'll give you a prime example. Like, so many people now are focused on, and because I've seen it on Facebook, I know nothing about it, nor do I care. But some NFL players that refuse to kneel for the flag or whatever. I don't really know the story because I don't really pay attention to this stuff. Well, here's the thing. They use your emotions because it's a business. And they can get you whether you love them or hate them. If they can attract you to them, they make money off of you. So if you are somebody that complains about the fact of what they're doing and you still watch it, then you are part of the problem. And that is what's called a hypocrite. I don't watch football anymore because I'm not going to participate with something I don't believe in. A bunch of spoiled brat millionaires and billionaires who go around and can rape women, who can abuse their wives, who can kill somebody driving drunk, but because they can catch a football or throw a pitch or do some kind of other sporting event, they get a free pass. I'm not going to contribute my energy to that so they could profit off of it. So if you're one of those people or know anybody that goes on Facebook and says, oh, I hate the fact that these NFL players, they won't kneel, and they're still sitting there going to the bars or having their Super Bowl parties, then they're hypocrites and they're not doing anything to change it. And then they're just talking because for some reason they are the ones that need attention. You're not going to be perfect, and that's fine. But you can get better or closer to perfection by realizing what you need to fix, instead of saying, woe is me, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, instead of letting others pat you on the back and tell you everything's going to be okay or everybody else is going to take care of you, because the only person that knows you is you. So if you want to rely on other people to take care of you, you better damn well hope they have 100% pure intentions. Because you know what your intentions are. You will never know what somebody else's is. Because there are plenty of family members that would stab each other in the back to get a couple of $1 million. So if we want to continually put our energy into people like Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or George Washington and have other people take care of us, don't be so shocked that they do it mostly for themselves or the people that they can profit or benefit from. And if we want to sit there and complain and do nothing about it, saying, oh, well, we don't have the power, well, duh, because you're not doing anything to fix it. And if you keep having to ask the question of, well, what do we need to do every single day, then you'll never get it, because if you spend every single video that I do, for example, saying the same thing, well, what do we do? Well, you're not really paying attention. And you just want to ask the same questions over and over again. Why? I don't know. But you don't see me sitting here saying, oh, I don't know what we're supposed to do. I say do something. If you don't like being punched in the head, move away, hit back, block it, scream out loud. Don't just stand there saying, woe is me. Don't stand there with a sign saying punching people is wrong. Don't sit there and hope that somebody else will come along and save you. Do it yourself. Because if you choose not to, then there are consequences, and don't be surprised of the outcome. It's all about taking responsibility. It's all about seeing things from a different perspective. It's okay to have passion. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to have a different point of view, even if it's different from others. And if you let other people influence you, then you are not a person that thinks for themselves. You are a follower. And why would you want to do that? And if you're going to be a follower, which is a choice, and that's fine, you might want to hook up to a following system that goes somewhere that will help you. If you're spending your time following people who scare you and make you angry and make you depressed and make you question the very existence that you live, then why are you doing it? This is a hello McFly moment. And it doesn't matter if they're your loved ones. It doesn't matter if it's your family or your coworkers. If you do not resonate with those people and you continue to associate with them, then whose fault is that? And if you want to make excuses all your life, you have the ability to do so. But then don't be surprised at the outcome or the lack thereof. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the solutions. All I can do is be me. And that is a version that can change at any moment. That I am not stuck on any particular belief system. Because if I find either something better or the thing that I believe in is not what I thought it was, I can change it in an instant. I am not holding on and attaching myself to one particular belief. And some people do exactly that. Whether it's religion or politics or whatever. If you hitch yourself to the wrong wagon, don't be surprised if it pulls you in the wrong direction or doesn't pull you anywhere at all. If you are not taking responsibility for your life and always spending your days asking questions instead of searching for answers, you're never going to get them. So if you're one of those people that wants to write, well, what do we need to do? Well, it's your job to figure that out, because what you're doing right now is not working, because if it was, you wouldn't have the need to ask that question. So you first have to see what is it in your life that you need to change. And if you're waiting for somebody else to do it for you, you're going to be waiting a very long time, because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, there is no Superman. No one's coming flying out of the sky and it's going to save you. But they'll let you think, oh, make sure you have that hope. Make sure you have that belief. Remember, there's lie and belief. You are Superman. You're waiting for yourself. When you're hungry, do you lay in bed and cross your fingers and pray to God saying, I hope food will magically appear on my lap? Or do you get up off your bed or your couch or wherever you are, go to your refrigerator and get some food? Or if you don't have any there, you get in your vehicle, or you get on a bus, or you hitch a ride, or you walk to the store and you buy something. Or you grow it. In other words, take responsibility. Because if you're getting all this garbage food from other people, you ever wonder why people are getting sick? And say, well, it's easy, or I can't do it, or make excuses all your life. That's what they want. Keep fighting with people that are fellow brothers and sisters, because that's what they want. Focus on the wrong things while they steal from you, while they keep you down. And it doesn't matter who they are. If this stuff wasn't happening, we'd be in a utopia and everybody'd be having everything that they need. And last I checked, we don't have that. So the people that want to be in charge should be held accountable for what they've created or helped to create. But we don't do that. We always think, well, tomorrow someone else is going to come along and they're going to say all the things that we want to hear, and they're going to say they're going to build the walls, and they're going to say things like we're going to put certain people in jail, and we're going to do everything to make everything right, and look what's changed. Nothing but some of the richest people's pocketbooks getting a little fatter. But you want to hook yourself to a wagon, it's dragging you. So be careful what you wish for. So, like I said on several videos, there is no World War III. These hurricanes and earthquakes and all these things, they are tragic, but it did not destroy the earth. There is no Planet X coming to wipe us off out of existence. And even if that was the case, you are a light being, you are energy, you are forever. This is just a bodysuit. It's a submarine, or it's a scuba gear, so you can travel underwater in a plane of existence that you normally could not function. You are a soul trapped in a meat body, visiting here to learn. What are you learning? And you will learn more from negativity than you ever will from positivity. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm assuming that most people that are listening to this are probably in their 30s or later. I'm sure there are people of all ages, but I doubt there's any 5-year-olds listening to this. But I guarantee you this. How many of you remember your 3rd birthday? Remember everything that happened? Probably not much, and I guarantee you probably had a great time. Your 3rd birthday, you had all your little friends over, you had all your family, it was all about you, you probably got all the little nice toys and presents you wanted, had your favorite ice cream cake, everybody singing your praises, probably the best day of your life, you probably don't remember one moment of it. But I guarantee you, you can remember the time that you broke your leg, or you got one of your teeth knocked out, or someone in your family died, or you were hit by a car, or something tragic happened. I guarantee you'll remember what you were eating that day, what you were wearing that day, where you were. But yet your 3rd grade birthday party, no matter how much fun you had and how much excitement it was, you probably don't remember a damn thing. Negativity is there to place an imprint so you can learn from it. And if you sit there saying, woe is me, you don't learn from it. If you go to school and you can't learn that 2 + 2 is 4, you're going to keep getting left back until you learn it. Once you learn it, you no longer need to learn it. So here's the ironic part. If something negative is happening to you right now, and the same thing keeps happening over and over again, it's because you're not learning it, and it's going to keep presenting itself in different forms with different people in different situations until you get it. And once you understand and learn from it, it no longer has its purpose and it goes away. So the very thing you're praying away, and the very thing you're wishing away, and the very thing you wish would go away, does go away when you finally decide to confront it, face it, learn from it, and change it. Because none of you are learning in school what 2 + 2 is anymore. But at one point you had to. And if you didn't get it, you're going to keep learning it until you figure it out. So that's what life is all about. So if you want to continue to think that there's going to be a nuclear war, if you want to keep thinking that there's going to be a planet that's going to rush into us, if you want to think that at any moment, throughout any corner, some bad guy's going to come pick you up and take you away, well, you're going to spend your whole life paranoid, afraid, and going nowhere. And there'll be plenty of people to encourage you to do that. It's all a choice. So that's the end of this video. I think 50 minutes is long. I will be shocked that maybe 5 people or less will actually have watched the entire video. If more people, that's amazing. If less people, doesn't matter to me. I did it for whatever purpose you can get from it. And if it makes you a better person, even 1/1,000,000th of what you were before, then something happened. and something positive came out of it. And if that's the case, aren't you glad I didn't give up? Aren't you glad I did it? Well, guess what? You can do the very same thing. Stop saying you can't. Stop saying I'm afraid. Stop saying I don't know. Well, if you don't know, learn, and then you will know. Stop thinking in the negative. Stop saying this is what I don't want. Start thinking this is what I do want. They always teach you about the negative. Well, because you're a magnetic being, your energy, and you have magnetism, that's why things get attracted to you. Even if you say, I don't want something, you are still focusing on that negativity. So if you say things like, I hate being poor, I don't want to be poor, well, you're focusing on the word poor. So even though it's something you don't want, all you're doing is thinking about it. Is it any wonder why you're not improving in any way? What are you doing to make yourself not that way? How about I'm going to be wealthy, if that's important to you, and you find a way to do it? So stop beating yourself up and saying I can't, because when you keep saying you can't, that registers in your brain, and you will always focus on that, and that's what will attract to you. That's how powerful you are. You are so powerful that you could put yourself down and believe you can't do anything, because remember, there's the word lie and belief. So I want some of you to make videos, and who cares if you don't say everything right? Do you think I'm some scholar? Am I reading from some cue card? I'm just speaking my mind. I'm speaking from the heart. That's where it comes from. So many of you are focused on your brain that you forget your heart speaks everything. No one says put your brain into something. What do they say? Put your heart into it. Your brain is your worst enemy. It's going to tell you that you can't do something. It's going to make you doubt yourself. Your heart is going to just do everything. So if you've never made a video before and you want to, put your heart into it. Stop thinking about the things you can't do. Focus on what you're going to do. Because you can make an hour-long video and say 59 minutes worth of the stupidest shit, and then have one moment of clarity that somebody says, wow, I can take something positive out of that. Well, guess what? Congratulations, you did a good thing. Everybody has the ability to do good or evil. Which do you choose? And the beautiful thing is, even if you chose one or the other, you can switch at any time. You could be a liar all your life. You could be a fraud all your life. Or you could be a saint all your life. Or maybe you'll be a little bit of both. Because maybe you need to determine which one resonates with you best. Because you'll never know you hate a food until you try it. And in the same token, you'll never know if you'll like a food until you try it. So sometimes you just got to try it. So you don't like your life? Do something to make it different. I'm not going to say everything perfectly. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say the wrong things, or maybe the wrong thing for you. This is only what I resonate with. You may resonate with 1/16 of what I've said. You may resonate with none of it. But at least you know that I'm here trying to share my life with you in hopes that it can help you think in a different way. You need to start passing that on. You need to start participating if you want the world to be a better place. Because if we're all going to sit there sitting around waiting for everybody else to do it, no one will get up and do anything. It's just like if you've ever taken a CPR course, the first thing that they tell you is, if you are trying to save somebody and you're surrounded by a bunch of people, if you just scream out, call 911, no one will move. Because everybody will be too afraid to stand out of the crowd and they'll wait for somebody else to do it. So you actually have to look somebody in the eye, point to them and say, you call 911. Otherwise, they won't do it. People would rather be in a crowd of people that are wrong than be alone knowing that they're right. True strength is not being in a crowd that can overwhelm somebody. True strength is being the one that can stand up against the crowd even when they say you're wrong, or you're crazy, or you're different, or whatever. Since when is different a bad thing? It's because that's what you're told. Well, you could be told you're a duck. Does that mean you're a duck because somebody else told you? Or they told you 1,000,000 times before? You're only a duck if you believe you are. So if you want the world to dictate who you are, well, dumb on your behalf. You don't want to be dumb anymore? Well, guess what? If you started to think about it in a different way and it makes you change your path and you start thinking and doing things differently, then you know what? It was a lesson that you needed to learn. And that's why 4 people have already left. 4 people were done with what I was saying. And that's okay. So that's it. Thanks for listening. And Heather, you said you were going to make a video for me. I expect one within the next 2 weeks, minimum. Be a person of your word. You know I love you to death. I think you make very good videos. You try very hard. Have the courage and strength to know that you're just speaking from the heart. Stop speaking from the head. Speak from the heart. Because people like you and I and others that make these kind of videos, we're not going to have millions of people watching. But we are going to have some people that care. So just remind yourself that when you're speaking. Because people will appreciate it. Please, there are people that have pooped in toilets that get thousands of views. You want to be one of those people? Anybody out there? Make a fear porn video. You'll get plenty of people. But if you want to spend your life scaring other people, then don't be surprised that your whole life is registered around negativity and wondering why you're not being anywhere positive, even if it makes you feel good at the moment. So thanks for listening. I hope I answered a question or two of yours, and if I haven't, well, maybe one of my other videos will. So check them out. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and let's start thinking in a different way and start being responsible for what we choose to do and what we choose not to do. Stop living in the fear porn. Stop having everybody scare you, and stop thinking that every turn of the corner somebody's out to get you. Because if you keep thinking that way, eventually you will create the very thing you don't want, and that's kind of silly. So thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great night. Hit the like button, share this, because YouTube is going to do everything to make sure this doesn't see the light of day, including taking my ad revenue. And that's fine. I do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description. If you want to join it, you can. You don't have to, but it does help me if you do. So thanks for listening, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you the next time I make a video.